Okay, so this is the last video for this lesson, boys. Alright, so a couple of more examples. For each item, find which size is the best value for money. The best value for money is the cheapest one. So, we're looking at Coke. 2 litres, so those 2 litre bottles. A 2 litre bottle of Coke for $3.25, or a box of 6 cans of 375 millilitres each for $3.85. Okay, so we'll look at the 2 litre bottle first. So we have 2 litres equals $3.25. Now, because the other one was in millilitres, we need to make sure that everything's in millilitres. So we're going to change the 2 litres into millilitres first. So we're going to a smaller unit, so we're timesing by 1,000 because milli is 1,000. That gives us 2,000 millilitres of Coke for $3.25. So for what we're doing for Best Buys, we're going to find one of those units, 1 millilitre. To go from 2,000 to an answer of 1, we divide by 2,000 and do the same to the other side. So you will then get this funny answer, write it down. Then we're going to compare the other box. It had 6 cans that were 375 mils in each can. Okay, so 375 mils is actually 1.5 cups. That's how much you get in a can. A cup is 250 millilitres. A can is 375 millilitres. So in those cans you're getting 1.5 cups. Okay, so if we work out the 6 cans, which have got 375 millilitres each in them, multiply them, in that box you're getting 2,250 millilitres of Coke. So that 2,250 millilitres cost you $3.85. So let's go and find what 1 millilitre costs. To go from 2,250 to an answer of 1, we divide by 2,250 and then go and do the same on the other side and divide by 2,250 over there. When you do that, you get that funny answer. So when we compare these strange answers, they've both got times 10 to the minus 3 on them, so ignore it. So now we're just looking at the decimals at the beginning. They both start with a 1. You can forget about that. This is where they become different. In the first decimal place, this has got a 6, this has got a 7. The 6 is lower, that means it's cheaper. So that means the 2 litre bottle of Coke is the best value for money. Now we're looking at Vegemite. So these Vegemites are different jars, different sizes. The biggest jar, 235 grams, costs $4.20. The next size down, 175 grams, costs $3.20. And the smaller one is 115 grams, and that costs $1.80. Remember, it's all the same Vegemite, just different types of, different amounts going into the jar, exactly the same product inside. Okay, so we're going to look at the first jar. 235 grams cost you $4.20. We're finding out what 1 gram costs in that jar. So just work out what you're doing to the 235 to get an answer of 1. You are dividing by 235. Do the same to the other side and divide by 235 over there. And this time you'll get a very long decimal. I wrote it all out because we don't know where it's going to start to be different to the other ones, so I've written the whole thing out. Okay, in the next one, the 175 gram jar costs you $3.20. To find what 1 gram costs, we need to divide by 175 and then do the same to the other side. That will give you another very long decimal. Looking at the last one, we have 115 grams in the smaller jar, cost you $1.80. Again, we're finding what 1 gram costs. We have to divide by 115 this time and do the same to the other side. And you'll again get a very long decimal. Now, when we look at those 3 decimals and try and find which one is the smallest for the cheapest price, they're all exactly the same in the first 2 decimal places. They both have 0.01. All 3 of them do. So if we look at the next digit, that's where they start to become different. This one's got a 7, this one's got an 8, this one's got a 5. That's the smaller one, so that's the cheapest. Okay, so that one was the 115 gram jar of Vegemite which turned out to be the best buy. Now, generally, in most of the cases, the cheapest one will be the bigger jar, but not always, because sometimes they will do something strange, like they'll decide to put the smaller jar on special. So that jar on special still might not be any cheaper than the others, but you won't know unless you work it out. Okay, so this time the smaller jar did end up being the cheapest, the most economical. So if I was going to do my shopping, I thought, well, I don't normally buy the small jar. Maybe I'll buy 2 or 3 of those instead of the bigger jar because it's cheaper this time. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. Again, this week you have no homework, so just make sure that everything from these notes is all written in your book, and make sure you're uploading all your photos to where I've written Term 3, Week 1 on Google Classroom. Make sure all your photos for the week go there. Thank you.